there's a fella down the road from here who actually used to live quite close by me, but he made a lot of money and moved into Cheshire, you see. He's a bit of a wild lad, you know, sort of thing. We call here sometimes on our way by. Nearly always ends up as a booze up, you know, and get in trouble with the wives, like.
It's over.
Come on, get up.
Come on. Auntie Maisie, yeah? Get me handbag and some clean trousers for the caravan.
You pay a lot of rates around here. Bloody roads are bumpy outside, isn't it?
Oh, Alison, present you come down.
Yes, yeah, full of bloody potholes, you know, you want the rate reduction.
You're talking to me.
No, stop round the corner.
Told me about me.
Yeah, but
How'd it go with you?
all this last night, we stopped at some pub called
Navigation.
yeah.
Who brought the dog? Is it me?
Yeah.
Just what we want, we got a dog.
She gets on well with it.
So I hope you can hear me over the traffic, but we're in Bowden, just off the A56, and we've come to Bucklow View, and Bucklow View plays an important part in Fred's journey to Sassel Park. He comes and sees some friends who's made a bit of money, and he's moved out, he used to live near Fred in Bolton, or Boughton, and he's moved to Cheshire, he's become a bit posh. So he's moved up there. Now the house up there, what you can see directly, where this 6 Series Grand, well, that was an expensive plate, 82 AF. Right, see, it's a lot of cash around here. Anyway, that big house up there, you can see what I've just filmed. It was there, you can see it on the film of Fred's, but the house next door looked exactly the same as that house, but it's been knocked down. It's a new Cheshire mansion now, and the house on the corner has actually been knocked down as well, and because the house on the corner plays a good part in replicating this was the place, because it had big long windows in the back. But luckily Google Maps, they've got old pictures of the house, well, not the house what Fred went to, but that corner house, so we can sort of line it up, and I can thank Andy the Lens for finding this information. He stayed up to 3 AM in the morning to find out, listening to Fred on his headphones, that he came here, and he worked it out, because the night before he stayed in the navigation, and then he went nosebag, what I filmed just before at the Swan Hotel, and he worked it out, and this is it, and it's exactly the same road, and you can line it up because of that big house up there with the double garages and the little walls. So as you can see, Fred coming up in his steamroller into Bucklow View. The thing to note is where my cursor is, those long windows, note that in your head. And he comes up into the estate, it's all sort of nice plush lawns. It's nothing like that anymore. Everyone's got fortified hedges around their houses now if you go today. But one of the last things left in the estate, what hasn't been glorified by Cheshire Mansions, is, just got to go slightly back there, is where that beetle is on the left. There's a little wall next to it, and I can show you a better view of that if I move it on. So they come out the house what doesn't exist anymore, it's been knocked down, and it's a Cheshire mansion now. So when they're talking here, you can see that wall in the background. Now note them in your head, because I'll show you on Google Maps what you can still see today. So this is the view you see today on Bucklow View. So this big white house here is actually where Fred's friends came out of. Now it's a totally different house to what it used to be. You come down here, there's sort of the new drive. I think when Fred's friends were there, the drive was a bit further up where I was before. But the two things to note was, the last thing I said is, look, remember that wall. Now next door the house still exists, and look at the wall there, it's still the same. He's come to the front. there's a house with a double garage. You can see it quite clearly on Fred. So that hasn't changed much. I bet you that's still old money. It's not being bought out, knocked down and rebuilt. You know, it's probably still the original owners, or maybe the second to original owners. So the two walls still exist. And then I also told you to remember those long windows. So today there's a big hedge around that house. But if we go back a few years, we go back to 2009, there's those long windows. And that's the original house. It's still a proper, like, 60s, 70s sort of designed, built house. But now it's actually been knocked down. The day I went, it's a completely different house. It looked like a Grand Designs house from what it used to be. So there you go, there's the long windows. And he came around that corner, and there's that big plush lawn on that corner. And he came round up here, and the Beatles parked there with that wall. And then he came round and he came out of the original house here. So there you go, that's another TE find, but it's actually an Andy the Lens find. That was, all credit goes to him. So there you go, that's it. Look, Tesla's going in now. But back then, in over 40 years ago, Fred was going up there in his tractor engine and his white shirt all covered in oil up there. My mum keeps saying, how did he get a tractor engine up there? And I was saying, well, about 40 years ago, this road was dead. Didn't have many Cheshire money going up and down it. Even though it was money, it wasn't mega money.
I'm ready for this.
Yes.
I'm ready, yeah.
Come on, chick. Get on with it. Long way to go. There you go.
So he walked up to me there. I was just in Bucklow, or Bucklow Hill, and the Bucklow garage is up there. They look like they were a Hilux and Mercedes specialist from what I can work out. But anyway, we're here outside the Swan Hotel, and this is a location what's never been recorded, and we're probably the last few months this will get recorded before this gets demolished, or half of it will get demolished. So Fred, when he's going to Hassel Park in the late 70s, he's on his roller with his van and his family, and he's been and seen his friends at his posh estate. He comes and has some nose bag, and on the video the tractor engine's parked here where these traffic lights are with his van on the back.
Long way to go yet.
And these concrete posts here are still original. I know, it's still 1970s original, so they've been there as long as since Fred's been here. And behind that little bin, I think those two concrete bars there, those posts, he was sat on a seat and a metal table, some metal chairs with his family, and
I'm ready for this.
Yes.
I'm ready.
And Alison, and some little lads come up to him and say, how many gallons of water does it use? And he said, well, he says, for 8 mile, he says, it's 80 gallons of water. And then he was like, then the little lad asked about coal and how much coal it used. 500 weight of coal from Bolton to Hassel.
How many gallons of water does it take?
Oh, for about 8 miles, it takes about 80 gallons. Yeah.
Do you use a lot of coal?
Well, not really. Sort of, we come all the way from Bolton, which is maybe 25 miles from here or something like that, on about, what, 500 weight.
and he's on there, and you can line it up because of the swan entrance there, and the windows on the lower end of the pub are all the same. They're new glazing, they're not single pane anymore, but they got that like bay window sort of style to them, and that's very like it was when Fred was here. And also when Fred was here, you can just see in the background where those parking bits is, like you can see the bottom wheels of like a Cortina, a Mark IV Cortina.
Come on, chick, get on with it.
On the other side there. But I say we're here in the last few days before it gets knocked down. The Swan Hotel in Bucklow, all the locals have been trying to save it for the last 2 years since it shut in August 2020. And even a local put £1 million offer in to save it. You have a local pub. But as they always do, money is involved, and they can make more money than £1 million, someone using it as a pub. They want to knock the back half down, what's a Premier Inn, what's new, what wouldn't have been here when Fred was here. And they're going to knock that down and build houses on it, and the original part, what Fred would have got in and got his nose bag in, is going to be, I think it's going to be apartments, and it's going to happen very soon. The Cheshire Live paper online have done very recent articles, only like this month just gone. So yeah, we caught it before it gets ruined. But anyway, that's a very much hidden Fred Dibnah location. Brought you to where he had his nose bag there, and his tractor engine was sat here. That's pretty good, that. And those concrete bars, I've just got to touch that to say, you know, Fred could have touched that, and I've done it now. I can tick it off the list. So there you go.
Anyway, by this time, we're doing about 25 mile an hour down this hill. Halfway down the hill, there's a bend in the road, not quite 45 degrees. No, there's no way we're going to get round a 45-degree corner.
We're at the Hassel Park entrance, is over there, and we're on the Holmes Chapel Road, and on when Fred's coming to Hassel Park, they film him coming past St John's Church, what's just there. It's overgrown, you can't see it, and he goes in the main entrance here. Now Hassel Park in the TE world, in my world, I've been coming since I was a baby, like maybe only a few weeks old when I came, no, a few months old. I was born in May and it's always in August. So I would have come here then as a baby and then every year since then. And I think even when I was young, I probably would have seen Fred. I was born in the late 90s. So yeah, he came here in 78, it's been going a long time. But before I was born, my mum's always been coming in, a cameraman. And we've actually got old photos of the year when Fred came in 78, when it was filmed. So we got some old photos then. But unfortunately not with Fred on. But yeah, the main, like all the tractor engines, all the show vehicles go in this entrance, and this is like the main entrance up to the hall. And then everyone what pays to go in, you go a bit further up there and you go in, you park in a big field, and it's a proper parkland field with big trees, and it's great. When at night time you go back to the car park, you brew up and you wait till the fireworks happen on Saturday under these big trees. It's one of the best tractor engine rallies in the northwest, Hassel Park. So this is where he came. And that bridge behind me there, I was just looking, it's the camera on that day, they must have climbed down the side of the banking and filmed him coming around that corner where that bus is coming now.
Off the edge of the road, we're in a big field. But the field has even more of a slant than the road.
But you can't get down there now to redo it. But it's quite a dangerous road today. There you go, there's another Fred location. Right, we're at the next location. This is Last Drop Village. It's been here a long time, and when it was built originally it was proper Last Drop Village where it had nothing around it. It was just on a hill and you could see a whole panorama view, and they've got a Affinity pool up there, and the poor sods are in this pool and they're looking into someone's brand new house now, and originally they would have looked right down onto Lancashire Plain, but it's not happening anymore. Anyway, we're here because this is the location where Fred Dibnah crashed his steamroller. Well, he didn't crash, it wasn't done intentionally. He, as it in his words, it was slurring and it picked its feet up, where when it picks up and then it just, you know, they're not spinning, the brakes have got holes, and when you've got metal going on tarmac, big tractor engine wheels, and it hits a bit of rubber, it hits a grid or something, it will pick its feet up and then it starts sliding. And it picks its feet up and it turns into a big, as Fred said, it's a 10-ton sledge. And it was down that back hill there, and we'll show you what he hit into now. Oh, over here, spin round over here. This post got rebuilt now, but come over here, you can look up here before I tell you about this post. Let me get over here. Up there is the back entrance, so to speak. It's a one direction, maybe it wasn't then. Came down there and it picked its feet up with his 5-ton trailer on the back, and he'd actually been to Last Drop Village to drop off some hexagon stones, the holes in the middle, what he couldn't get rid of, but so he managed to sell them to here. And apparently they've been sold since. There was some eBay listing where someone bid on them for £32, for 9 bid. Anyway, he came down here, he was going home, and it picked its wheels up and he was sliding down here, and someone in the trailer jumped over the wall to get out, and Fred before those houses behind us were built, it was a field and a big drop, and I think there was a hospital, wasn't there? And he didn't want to go down there. He could see it in the paper, his tractor engine going, his roller going for the back of the hospital. So he saw the post at the bottom, he's like, that will stop it, that'll slow it down a bit. So he smacked this, when it was obviously the original one, before this got rebuilt, smacked this and it ripped the front forks apart with the wheel, and the wheel managed to get the chain, managed to hold it, and it snapped the horse on the front in 2 pieces. And a guy came out with a camera and taking loads of snaps, and when Fred went to pick those pictures up later, the silly bugger took his lens cap off and never got any pictures of it. So this is where it was. This is another Fred Dibnah location. So all you need to do is get yourself up to Last Drop Village, find this driveway here and that post, and Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt, as they say, and you found it. So there you go, that's another Fred location. Aye.
I've had 2 disasters with this steamroller. One day I had this mountain of stones, you see, that a very posh restaurant decided they'd buy a load off me for 60 quid. And I said to them, like, I'll deliver it by steam with my steam engine. So we loaded this big trailer up. The trailer weighed 3.5 tons and it had no brakes on it. And we must have put about 20 odd tons on the trailer. And we set off for this place. And it's outside of Bolton on the moors, and the road is very steep, you know, about 1 in 7 or something like that. Anyway, we made it, burnt all the paint off the funnel, but we were there. And it took us 2 hours to unload the bloody thing. Turned the engine round, lit the lamps, because it was going dark Sunday evening, and down this big hill. And I decided, you know, the crankshaft were going round a bit too fast, so screwed the brakes on a bit, and it picked its feet up. That means, like, instead of wheels going round, you know, it was slurring like a big sledge, you see. And it was going, like, from one side of the road to the other. Anyway, by this time, we're doing about 25 miles an hour down this hill. Halfway down the hill, there's a bend in the road, not quite 45 degrees. Now, there's no way we're going to get round a 45-degree corner. So if we go straight across and drop off the edge of the road, we're in a big field. But the field has even more of a slant than the road. And at the edge of the field, there's a 14-foot drop into the back of a geriatric hospital, you see. What do? You know, so I hit the pillar. That'll slow it down a bit. So we hit this stone pillar, boom, great rocks flying in the bloody sky. The front forks broke into 3 pieces. The front of the boiler dug an hole in the road 18 inches deep. The rollers, as look at it, hung on to the chains. If them chains had broke, the bloody rollers would have gone across the field and demolished the hospital. It would have been like the dam busters.
Interesting book, this. Well, he's putting his props in his chimney there when he's felling it. Where's that at? Where's that? Don't say, but it's pretty good. Wow. Right. Oh, didn't see you come in there, just reading Fred Dibnah Steam Zone. I think it was Tilly Updorf's dad owned that originally. I'll just put that out there with me over Fred Dibnah, not the industrial age. Steam. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my 3 parts. 3 parts of many locations, from seen before locations and never seen before locations. I need to thank Andy the Lens for giving me some of the locations, as well as a few I sniffed out. But Andy Lens did a lot of late night 3 a.m. work to find them. Also a big thank you to Patrons. It took us 6 months to save up, and then it all the money and what we saved up completely disappeared in about 3 days filming. But it was well worth it. We had to really save a lot, because it was a two hotel bedroom jobby in my favourite hotel, Charnock Richard. And I brought 2 cameramen, not just 1, 2. I had a behind the scenes cameraman for Patreon, and a cameraman what's holding the camera now to do my YouTube. So it was a big showbiz shebang with TA. So if you've enjoyed all of that, make sure you give us a like, a subscribe, a comment below, and remember to click that big bell. Ding!
Long way to go yet. There you go.